What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Two Perfect Podcasts. My name is Yzel.
My name is Renz.
And we're not
Perfect! Two Perfect Podcast is dedicated to three things.
First, we are dedicated to sharing super personal stories and owning our imperfection.
Second, we want to create a safe space where we could be our most authentic selves.
And third, we want to build a community for people like us who are fed up with the pressure of trying to be perfect. And before we get started on this episode, make sure you hit that follow, subscribe, like, hit that bell if you're on YouTube so you're notified. We release episodes or release snippets of episodes every Tuesday. And then on Saturdays, we release the full-length episode on YouTube. However, we still release our podcast on every podcast streaming platform on Tuesdays. And if you do enjoy the content or the topic of today's episode, make sure you share it with your friends, your family. Let's discuss. You can email us at twoperfectpodcast@gmail.com anytime you want to share your opinions with us or ask any questions or answer any of our questions. But yeah, let's get it started. What's going on in your mind? How are you feeling? Like, what's going on? Because we just consumed so much. I know your mind has to be like running.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's my mind running. Maybe it's my feelings that's running. Because I don't know what I'm thinking about. But there's so much.
I don't know what I'm thinking about, but there's so much.
There's so much going on inside my body. And I'm just like, giddy, which is like, that kilig feeling, which is Tagalog for giddy, I guess. But I always just feel like that's such a,
it doesn't live up. Yeah. Giddy does not live up to kilig. Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah. So every time it's like, I say I'm giddy, but really I want to use like, I'm kilig, you guys.
Yeah. It's different. It's like levels above giddy.
Yeah.
But, so you're just feeling giddy.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm feeling so frustrated. No, I think, we have just watched so much rom-coms and just like romantic shows that my heart has just been through the ringer.
Yeah.
It's been doing somersaults for the last all day.
All day, actually.
24 hours basically that we've been watching all these things, and it affects me.
I'm not me right now. I am whoever the hell we just watched.
Because when you watch stuff, you really put yourself in the position of the main character, and you're just immersed into that character's world. At least that's what it feels like for me.
That's how it feels like for me too. Like, I just get caught up in it. I'm just like, yes, let's do this. Everything that they're going through, I'm with it. I'm there. Yeah. I'm the person. So, okay. So then do you like horror films? I don't like it not that I don't like it. I just don't consume it as much as I did when I was younger. Because when I was younger, I was like, I guess I was braver. I was more like, okay, let's go. I watched a lot more slasher films and I guess paranormal films. But as I got older, I stopped. But I enjoy it. Yeah.
My last roommate, Robert, he watched scary movies in the living room. And because it was a regular occurrence in our place, it just became like, oh,
it's natural.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Because I hated being alone.
That's what it was
the
for
part,
me.
right?
Yeah.
It's like you're left with the feelings and you don't have a feeling of comfort because no one's with you.
Yeah, so you're still in that mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still that person.
Yeah,
in that movie.
And it's almost as if being with someone tethers you to the real world. Otherwise, you're still in that
the movie of whatever
where
you
the
watched.
movie took you. Exactly. And I hated watching those movies with Robert because he always fell asleep.
Me too.
He would always fall asleep and I'd be like, motherfucker, you put this shit on. And then the worst part was that he lost the remote. So
you have to physically.
I had to either just leave because he had the remote on his phone. You know, have my remote on my phone.
Like connect through the Wi-Fi and stuff. Yeah.
So it's the same thing that we had back in our place in Sacramento. And then, like, I hated it. He would fall asleep and I couldn't change the channel. So I was just like, well, I guess I'll watch this. Because I still kind of want to know what's going to happen.
Because you're invested at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that, and then he's, like, asleep, and I'm, like, looking at the door, like, okay, looking at the windows, like, everything's locked. Like, okay.
Yeah.
That's, like, tethering me to the real world.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of, like, look around. But now it's just, like, it's chill. Like, I can watch scary movies, no big deal now.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, that's great for you. Yeah. I think that's how it was for me, too. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when I was younger, I actually watched, like, the scary movies with, like, my family because my dad also just really loved, like, watching films, and that's how we connected and stuff. And then when it got to, like, around high school time, I guess it was just, like, I was watching it with people, and then we'd have to separate, and I'm just like, oh, my God, like... It was just overwhelming for me. I think it was especially the part where I also started to consume like the Korean versions of it, because like, you know how The Ring and like the other one with the house, The Grudge. Yeah, I think that The Grudge was the one that really kind of like messed me up.
Oh. I thought that one was funny. I watched the original. Yeah.
I think it was just because, like, I think my closet, like, you know how my old room was set up? It's facing the closet, and my closet is always kind of, like, partially open. So to me, it would mess me up. So it was just, like, okay, like, I had to stop. And then I also kind of had that problem where Jackie would always just fall asleep. So I'm just always like, oh, man, I'm just... watching this scary ass movie by myself.
What is, comment below, email me, what is up with men falling asleep in movies?
I also hate that too, because like I remember Jackie put on a show, it was a movie about like the Khmer Rouge. Yeah. And it was so freaking sad and devastating, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this by myself. So I'm just consumed
with all the emotions,
the horror that they had to go through and stuff like that, and I'm just like, please,
I know,
I need some emotional support right now.
I actually have a question. What is the deal with us showing films and movies and stuff to each other? Like, what is that about? I have, I know in my mind, I enjoy watching people's reactions to things. But what is that about? Like, why do we like to show each other shows and movies?
Emotional support. It's like, I want you to go to the same journey with me.
I know, but it's like, even like the sad stuff. It's like, girl, I cried. Like, you gotta watch this. Like, it's so sad. You know, what is that about? I don't know. Comment below. Email me. What is up with that? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because, well, I don't know. Maybe it is just about sharing... the experience? Is it sharing the experience? Is it because, I don't know. It was emotionally traumatizing for me, so I want you to be emotionally traumatized.
Maybe. I also sometimes I feel like when people do that, like, you know, they connect to this certain show, and then maybe that's how they're trying to communicate to that other person to help them understand them better or something like that. Because that's always how I perceive things. It's like, okay, they're showing me this for a reason, and then I always kind of analyze it's like, what parts did they connect to? Like,
that was a mic
what
drop
really
right there.
spoke them.
You know what? That might be it. That might be it. Because it's like, I do learn stuff. We talked about it in the last episode, Yu Hawk Show. You learn stuff about yourself when you consume shows and movies, and you learn stuff about people in the world. And so maybe it is that part where after you watch something, you feel like you know yourself a little bit better, or it's like reaffirming things that you know, and then it's like, oh, I want you to know this about me, or I thought of you too. Like, there's things about you that I see in this show or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
What is also the deal with... I feel like I answered my question in my head. But what is the deal? I'm going to just put the question out there. What is the deal with, like, chick flicks? Like, chick flicks, or just, like, gendering movies. Like, oh, these are movies for men and these are movies for women. What's the deal with that? What's going on there? I think we talked about it in one of our episodes.
I think we did too.
Like,
I think for like the first crushes or something like that.
Yeah.
About how like we just really love like these kinds of like topics because blah blah blah. Money, probably, because like, you know, it's dictated by like Hollywood and stuff like that. So that's probably where it stemmed from, because they started realizing like, oh, these are the people spending money to this, so we like advertise it to them. But I also think it's like super interesting how that label just exists. You know, these are like chick flicks. These are the action ones are for guys. When it's like, I think during that episode we even asked like which guys are into chick flicks, like, you know, because I don't know.
Is that term eradicated? Like, do we still use the term chick flick? Like,
I feel like it's very dated. I feel like I haven't heard that since we said it today.
I know. I don't even know why I said it. Because I don't even call them that. I think I was just trying to emphasize on my question where
it's gendered.
Feel like, you know, there are people who believe that movies are gendered, in which I guess, I mean, in a sense they are, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they are, you know, strategizing their marketing ploy and like, okay, we want to market this to like females, we want to market this to males or whatever. But there's a part of me that does not like that.
Yes.
But there's a part of me that also understands that there is a reasoning behind it, and it is a logical way in doing things. You know? I don't know.
I think just because it makes sense, there's always that, like, side where it feels wrong. You know? That's why I think...
But where does that come from? I guess is also my question. Like, why does it feel so wrong for us? Like, I feel like maybe we shouldn't do that, but then there are people who believe, like, no, that's the right way to do it. You know, obviously, because that's why it's being done that way.
I think we just like to dismantle the norm. That's why. So that's why, even though it's quote-unquote correct, because society, that's the implement of society, you know, like, that's evident, that's normal. But for us, it's like, why is that the norm? Like, you know, we like to question that. So I think that's what it is for me a little bit.
Is that like, a personal read, or is that just like, are you saying that we personally, we just like to question the status quo, or we like to question the way things are done?
Yeah, like, personally, that's how I feel, but I think you can relate because we've been talking for like forever. Yeah. So I kind of, like, you know, these are the things we often talk about. So it's just, for us, it's just like, why does it always have to be the same way just because it's normal? I think there's always going to be something about us that's going to be like, I think we should question it a little bit to make sure that this is right, because it feels wrong.
Yeah, and maybe the words can be changed because it's there's a part of me that doesn't want to say right or wrong either, because I almost don't feel like it's about being right or wrong. I just feel like it's about being true. Yeah. Right? Like, being more genuine and more authentic. Yeah. And I don't know. I this is something that I just started thinking about right now. But
as evident.
Yeah. You know what it is? This might not be it. But
it could be. But it could be. Let's talk about it.
I think it's more about, maybe I would feel differently if people did not look down on quote-unquote chick flicks. Yeah. There, I feel, is a negative sentiment where it's kind of like, oh, you like that stuff? Yeah. Like, for example, if a man is watching a chick flick, then there is a bigger potential for people to look at that man and be like, oh, that's kind of like, you know.
It's masculating sometimes. Yeah. Like. It's in that tone, you know?
Like, they, I don't know, what could make fun of that person potentially. And I just, I don't know. Because maybe, whoa, big reveal here. I just had a revelation. I also didn't really subscribe to rom-coms until later on in life. I think growing up, I wanted to explore more of like my masculine energy. And so rom-coms and things like that, I was just kind of like, eh. Yeah. It's not really for me. There were more like guilty pleasures.
Yeah. I remember thinking that way too, where it's just like, I wasn't super secretive about it, but I wasn't like forthcoming about it. It's not like I'm gonna say like, oh my god, I love this, because I remember even like with the...
Are you gonna say The Notebook?
Huh?
Are you gonna say The Notebook?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Just like with everything, like me and Anissa used to just watch like romance movies like on the down low, and it's not like we told every girls like, come on everybody, let's watch this.
Let's go, girls.
It was more so just like, especially like the Filipino ones, because they're so cheesy, so it was more like
they're on another level.
Yeah, so it was more like, oh, we're gonna watch this movie together, let's go. But we never told anyone. And then but at the same time I was very vocal with like watching like cool movies, you know, because I was just like, oh, this is cool, like, yeah, foreign films, Tarantino films, like, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
because I felt like no one else really would care other than the ones I know who secretly, quote unquote secretly, even though it's not that secret about it.
Yeah, I remember in middle school, my two best friends, in, I think it was the 7th grade when this came out. The Notebook came out, I believe, in the 7th grade.
Yeah, and probably.
They loved this movie so much.
Yeah.
And they were very vocal about it. They told everybody we were talking about it, and I just felt like distancing myself from that. And they're like, you have to watch it. And I remember kind of protesting, like, it's not really my type, you know, because at that point I had already determined, like, oh, my favorite, you know, directors and writers. I already subscribed to like the Tarantino stuff, and they were very adamant about me checking it out. They're like, you're gonna love it. It's gonna change your mind.
Good. Yeah, so good.
So I remember being home. We had the DVD, and the Notebook was playing, and I remember holding in my tears. I'm a crier.
Show emotion.
I am a crier. I cry a lot. But in that age, I didn't really like to cry in front of anybody. Now it's like, I don't give a fuck. If I have to cry, I'm fucking crying.
Yeah.
I don't care who's around.
Yeah.
Unless we're in a professional setting, then I'm probably sometimes.
Yeah.
But
it's different.
It's different. But yeah, I remember sitting on the couch and being like, hold your fucking tears. They're boo-hoo crying. They're boo-hoo fucking crying next to me. And I'm just like, and after it ended, you know, they die. Spoiler alert.
I know, right?
They're looking at me and checking for the tears, and they're like, you liked it, huh? You liked it, huh? And I was like, it's alright.
It's okay. No, not to blink, because like then they'll pour out.
I know. I was like, it's alright. No, I did cry. I did at that point when they died. I cried. Yeah. So, but it wasn't like how I cry now. Like,
it was just like
how I cry now. I'm for real, like. But like in that time, in middle school, I was like, it was like one of those, just wipe the tears away.
Just getting a tissue and dabbing it.
I wasn't like like how I do now. Now I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I've accepted that part of me. But yeah, what is that about, dude? Oh, I love. Have you ever watched The Hollywood Reporter on their YouTube page? They have a roundtable discussion, and there's typically a team, like a theme, not a team, a theme. For example, like drama actors or that's what I remember because that's what I just watched. But there's like things like that, and they bring like big name actors or other celebrities and professionals and talk about just stuff in that theme.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
So it's pretty incredible. They talked about how they come to a point in their career where they have to turn down pitches. Because obviously when you reach a point of fame, people are going to...
They just want you.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they're going to watch that show regardless because people love them.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they want to pull them in, but they'll read it and they're just like, this is not good, you know, because of course there's that idea of actors really being hungry to grab what they can because it is such a competitive field. And they were just talking about how you kind of get sick of playing like an archetype, right? And even now, there still isn't as much variety as there could be because typically in Hollywood, you have a type of role that women can play. And so that's why a lot of them are making like their own production companies and stuff like that, which is actually how Big Little Lies came to be. So with Reese, she was the one talking about how like, oh yeah, I had to turn down roles because she would read scripts and she would read the writing for the roles and she'd just be like, this is
not good.
This is not horrible. There's no depth. And so she was just like, I want to just do things, you know, that are authentic and genuinely like human first and foremost.
Yeah.
And so she created her own production company and then I think they read the book Big Little Lies and then like her and Nicole were talking about it like we got to do this, like we got to turn this into a show. But yeah, I just feel like movies should be like that. I wonder what the science is behind it. I do know that everybody's brains are vastly different, especially different genders. Yeah. They just light up in different places in different moments. So I do understand that piece where scientifically, like, men and women are just very different. Yeah. And so there's that aspect to it. But comment below if you are knowledgeable. But yeah, what else are you thinking about?
You know how earlier we were also just talking about, like, there's a lot on Instagram right now, people just getting married, people getting engaged and stuff. Yes. So that's, I think it's also in theme of, like, just me being all giddy. I just saw someone from our old high school. They got engaged and they set up, like...
I guess you can tell me after.
Yeah. It was just so cute. There was like a little picnic, and it's funny because according to her story, she was the one who like set up, like she was having like a reunion with her like high school friends, and she thought it was just gonna be like a picnic. So she was like, she made it all like pretty and stuff like that. When in reality, it was actually her proposal picnic. Oh, yeah. And I was like, that's so cute because you know it's going to be like, what a strategy. It's like, oh, why don't you set this up, make it all look cute so we can all reunite, and then made her do all the work, and then bam.
Wow. That's genius.
That is slightly genius.
That's pretty genius. Wow.
Because it's like, you know, if you know her and if she's that
gonna
type
like
of
it
person,
to a certain style and certain details. Yeah.
Especially I feel like if she, I mean, I don't know her, so I'm not saying anything about her, but I could see it because I could be that way too. Yeah. Where it's like
kind of nitpicky.
Yeah. Like who else knows me better than me? You. But other than that, it's like I would make it cute and I would be like, oh, but honestly my fault would be like I would probably put it in their mind space and be like, what would they enjoy?
I know.
That's exactly the trick part. If you try to do that to me, it's not gonna be
catered to you per se.
Yeah, because I would be thinking about it. It's like, oh, the group. What would the group?
Do you think about your wedding? Or have you been thinking about your wedding because of all of the pictures on social media with like everyone getting married and whatnot?
No. I think I like fantasize. I think I fantasize, but whether I fantasize about it as my dream, that's the question. Because I'm just like, it's always like a different situation, so it's not necessarily as like, oh, I know this is how my dream wedding is gonna look like. It's more just like, oh, that's cute, by the lake, by this, by the this. But in reality, it's not like, oh, I know for a fact this is how I want my wedding to be.
Yeah. So you do think about it.
Sometimes, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about your wedding too. Like, I'll just be, reminded and stuff, especially looking at social media and like the way that they put it together.
Yeah.
And 2 of my friends actually got married on Sunday and then on Monday.
Yeah.
And they kind of had a similar there were similarities in their wedding, which, I mean, no surprise, right? It's a fucking wedding.
It's a wedding. Yeah. Especially like in these moments now where it's like social media is giving everyone like ideas, suggestions, so there's going to be overlap. Yeah.
But they both, in their first dance as husband and wife, they both had this mist, and it created like these fluffy clouds. So at the end of their dance, it literally looks like they're dancing on clouds. It really filled up the room, and they have like little fireworks going off in the back. It looks like magical. A fucking Disney movie. It looks magical, and I'm just like, wow. Renz needs that. Yeah. So cute. Now, there is that piece too, where it's a social aspect, because we are trained to think about stuff like that, whether it be in your family or society. That is what women are trained to think about, whereas men, they're not. They're trained to think about other things.
Yeah. Like, I feel like the men are more so like, they're thinking about like, how am I going to provide? Like, what's the next, like, not necessarily like the wedding stuff. It's just like, where are we going to live? Where should we settle?
Yeah. Because traditionally men were the sole breadwinner. And what a fucking crazy ass responsibility to bear on your own. Is to be a man, you have to be the one providing the bread and the resources solely on your own.
Like, and you have to make sure they survive
for yourself. For yourself and for your family, your wife, your kids. So that is just insane. Right? So I don't know, it's kind of crazy.
Pretty crazy.
That's fucking crazy. So yeah, I'm not thinking about a fucking wedding. Honestly, like, no fucking, just being real. Like,
yeah, that's what it is too.
What? That's what it is for me.
What?
I was so wrapped up in wanting to create ambition in myself that I was like, I am not going to be romanticizing a wedding, because I need to be a breadwinner. Yeah. And I've always felt like that. That's what it is. And I had examples like that growing up. I have aunts and whatnot that never married, and their sole ambition in life was just to be their own, self, basically. And that was a big influence in why I thought like that as a little girl. Yeah.
And you need those.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more now, because it's just a lot more diversity. Because honestly, for me, even when I said, like, do I think about those, I don't necessarily think about it in that context of like,
what your wedding is going to be like per se.
It's always just a wedding. It's not, I don't even picture me and Jackie. It's just a wedding. Like, it's just not like, it makes me feel cringe. I don't know what it is. And I remember, because I just had this conversation with my mom like last week, how I was also telling you, I just keep seeing people get engaged, and there's a lot of people getting engaged right now.
She's seeing it too. Is that what you're saying?
No. I don't even really remember how we got to that conversation. I was just open with her because I was talking about this with Gilbert, how like, I don't know what it was, but it made me anxious because it made me feel like Jackie got in that moment of his life where I feel like he's ready to take the next step and he has some sort of financial stability to be able to afford a ring. And I remember I was just like, please do not propose to me anytime soon. I am not ready. Like, I was just so anxious. And I was just like, I gotta let him know where I'm at mentally because I don't want, like, because we talk about our future. Like, I know that we're building a future together and that we're 100% committed. This is probably endgame. And I didn't want to also make him think, like, now is the time. Because I'm like, nope, now is not the time. I'm not ready. So it was just weird for me. And then I asked my mom, how do you know when you're ready for that next step?
You asked her. You brought it up to her.
Yeah.
You brought the topic to her.
I don't know if I brought the topic, but I asked that question.
Okay, and what did she say?
Her answer was very, what's the word? It's very logical. She was just like, oh, usually it's just like, a certain amount of time. Like, if you guys have been together for X amount of time, then you guys are ready. But it's like, that doesn't answer my question. Anyone could be, because, like, by her definition, which is basically what she's telling me, just get engaged, because she's always telling me, just get married, just have a paper, because you guys are basically married. But I'm just like, I don't know. To me, I don't feel it. I don't know what you're supposed to feel, but I am not ready. I don't want it yet. But maybe it has something to do with that, where I'm still finding my footing. I still want to know what it's going to be like for me, that I don't want to be caught up in the headspace of, like, needing to plan a wedding. And with what money? Because that's what I was, like, telling her. I was like, I want a wedding where I want a good wedding. I want it to be extravaganza.
I know. Yep. I already have. I have all these ideas ready to go whenever you guys do get to that point. And, I remember I ran a couple ideas to Jackie, and he was kind of like, how much is that going to be?
Of course.
What? Like that? And I was like, excited. He was not so excited because he's thinking about the price.
The financial side of things, which makes sense because that's just the type of person that he is.
Yeah.
But he should have known that I am that type of person.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So to me, I think it's just what it is. Like, I just don't feel like it's the next step yet because I'm not ready. So it's like, what's the point of getting that paper? I don't want to have to redo it again. I just want to do it once because people are just
kind of like your graduation.
Yeah, I guess so. They're going back to that again.
Because, okay, so I just went to a wedding, right, in Mexico, and my friends who just got married, they had the ceremony, but they got married like 2 years ago. They got legally married. They went to the courthouse and they signed the papers. And then they had a very small, intimate ceremony with friends and family. And that's like pretty typical when you do like a smaller ceremony. And I forgot what the term is called. But anyways, that's like a thing. And I believe that's where they had the wedding cake. Because actually, in the reception, there wasn't like iconic, like... No, there wasn't an iconic, like, wedding cake cut.
Because they have done it already. So they were like, let's not spend money on that again.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But, so there's that aspect. So you would not want to do something like that.
I don't know. Maybe it's because... I just don't really understand the point of getting married. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I think it's usually because getting married is usually like a step by step, right? So it's like when you're ready to have a family, you get married first. And if I don't want a family, to me, there's like really, there's no rush, So to me, that's the reason why I don't care for it because, like, what would it change? That's what I keep asking myself.
Mm-hmm.
What would it change? What would a piece of paper change? I don't know. So to me, it's like, I have no rush. I don't feel like it. And maybe that's another reason why I felt anxious, because it's like, oh, if we commit to each other right now, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Maybe you are wanting to follow more of your emotional intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Your feelings are guiding you to make that decision.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of legal benefits to getting married.
Yeah.
And so in like the logical sense, I could see what your mom is saying. Like, yeah, it would be great if you guys got married now, because look at all of the legal benefits that you could get.
I just feel like that's not where she's coming from either.
Oh, I mean, or just like in any angle where you could rationalize, like, oh yeah, let's just get married now because of these very attractive legal benefits.
Yeah.
But that's not following the emotional intuition. That's following more of like logic.
The logical.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because
and
when
that's
it
not
comes
the way
to
you're
that,
going. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to like wedding, I always envisioned it as like,
it's an emotional thing. Yeah. It's an emotional thing, and not so much to be seen as like one for logic.
Yeah. I just feel like, if we did like the whole ceremony thing, it's just like, all right, just check off the bucket list of my to-do list. And I guess that's not how I want it to feel. Yeah. Wow. Probably.
No, but seriously though, I just keep thinking about Never Have I Ever.
Yeah.
And I just love it in so many ways. There's so many things about the show that I love. I think the first thing that really made me fall in love was humanizing the nerd. The nerd stereotype, especially with having an Asian lead.
Yes.
And really showcasing, because I don't know how to describe it. I feel like that personality type, the nerd, in any type of media, it's kind of reduced to this, like, I don't even know the words. Like, almost like a robotic or like a unrelatable type of person. You get what I'm saying?
And I always feel like there's usually some sort of like change sequence that they have to go through in order to be
more relatable.
Yeah. To all of a suddenly be likable by the affection, whoever they're pursuing. I think what it is about it is just like the protagonist is just really, there's just a lot. She's just so human. She's so human.
Yeah.
I saw it on IG once, where it's like she's making very human decisions.
Yeah.
And we're not supposed to like her, but we do because she's human. She's real.
And that's what we love about every show, every movie, but specifically the fact that she's a nerd. That is what I enjoy about it, because she's the girl in school that's super nerdy and often considered like invisible. They even said it in the show, like, oh, you're like invisible, like no one notices you. So you really get more of the idea of like, oh, this is a girl that was in your class that just got the straight A's and did the extra credit and was just, they're gonna be the valedictorian and stuff like that. But you really see them as like a person that is so relatable because of the way that the show is written. And I love that, because I'm sure it exists, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a character written like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Me too, because also my headspace is just there.
But just like, I can't think of a show where, like, okay, the first show that I think of is the one with Sheldon. What is that show?
Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory. Unrelatable.
Unrelatable.
In a sense, right? They made this super nerdy person.
Yeah.
very like,
I don't know. It's just always just I just never really enjoyed that. Like I watched, I think the first couple seasons, and it was okay at first, but I just feel like it also just became like the butt of every joke. Like their nerdiness is like the butt of every joke, and I feel like that's what it is usually when it like come to the nerds. It's just like, oh, you're never gonna understand me.
Yes.
And stuff like
unrelatable.
that. Yeah.
Like I'm a freak. I'm a geek, you know? And the show really, I mean, really a lot of them are nerds because that's typically what happens. Nerds hang out with nerds. So her being a nerd, and you see all her friends who are also nerds. Yeah. And even like her family, like her cousin, Kamala, like she's obviously a nerd, but there's just this relatability that they're able to portray, which I just love because I don't really see that anywhere.
And I also think, like, you know, usually when it's like, when they're nerdy, they're also like weird and awkward, which they could be, but the different types of nerds that they are in the show is just so different. Like Ben is just like that kind of obnoxious rich nerd, and she's like
very like show offy.
Yeah, you know, and even her two best friends. It's just cool to see all those perspectives. They're their own people.
Yeah.
I just love that show.
I know.
Have you guys seen it?
I know.
We're late in the game because we've been waiting for each other to
I know. I did not want to watch it without Renz.
Me too. It was killing me because it was like there all the time on my Netflix thing.
I know.
And it was just like, oh my god.
I just convinced myself that I wasn't emotionally prepared. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. You're just not emotionally prepared. True. It's fine. We did procrastinate on watching that show, but man, am I gonna watch it again?
I know.
And again. Now that we watched it, I'm like, oh yeah, baby, time to rewatch.
Also, like what I was thinking in my head, like on top of like, I can't wait to watch it with you. I can't wait for me to keep watching it and watching it and watching it.
Oh my gosh! Comment below. What do you rewatch stuff?
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? What is the deal with that? Sense of comfort.
Yeah. I saw this meme online about something with people with ADHD and how they listen to one song specifically because it's like their only serotonin boost or something. I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I'll look for it and then I'll send it to you later.
Interesting. Now it's got me thinking about myself, like, wait a minute. Is that what I've been doing all along? Is boosting my serotonin levels?
Yeah.
Wow. Who needs medication, right?
But it's just so good. Have you guys ever done that where you literally just saw a show and you just hit rewatch again and then you do it all over again? You don't even give yourself like a day. You just...
I'm probably put it on once you leave.
I know.
I'm probably gonna watch it again immediately.
Just to like catch everything. It was just so good. Honestly, I might even start at season 1 just to kind of like refresh everything.
That is exactly what I was referring to when I said when you leave, I'm gonna rewatch everything. I meant season
the whole
1
thing.
I would have done that today, but I was like, oh, we might not have time. But
yeah, no, this makes sense because we really needed to record today.
I know. How much do you love love? Do you love love enough to watch love?
How much do you love love while watching love?
Okay, so today's episode, if you enjoy hearing about topics like this, about love and romance and thoughts about that, share it with your friends and family. Email us, comment below, and yeah, you know the deal. We hope you are taking care of yourself, being authentically yourself, being genuine with yourself, and catch us next Tuesday. Peace out. Bye.
Bye. Pew!
It's funny because it feels like